Hi, I'm Janet. Welcome to Rustic Fruit Sanctuary. We're standing out in our permaculture guild, and so I just wanted to show you and introduce you to some of our plant friends. We have a little fig tree right here, and these are the little baby figs growing on it. And basically, a permaculture guild is where you have different layers and canopies of trees and shrubs and bushes. So we have figs here. We always plant the tallest things to the north so that everything can get a lot of sun during the day. So on the other side, we have some pecan trees that will end up growing to be 50 foot tall. We did have some pecans. This is ready. Super excited about that because they haven't been very productive yet. A lot of the times when you buy fruit and nut trees, it takes them like several years to start being productive, and now they're growing. So you want to plant your tallest trees on the north side, and then you want to kind of step it down as you go south. And in our permaculture guild, we have pear trees, we have an almond tree, we've got peaches, cherries, jujubes, all kinds of different things growing here. And the neat thing about permaculture guilds is you can even put your bushes in. This is a currant, a black currant. This is an aronia berry. Over there we have asparagus. These are asparagus ferns. So every year we get some delicious asparagus, and next year won't be any different. But yeah, so you want to go from tall to short, north to south. And then we also do some companion planting in here. It's kind of funny because we have some little oak trees that are just growing from a seed that obviously got dropped in this guild. And this is comfrey, and comfrey is an amazing healing plant, but it's also a nitrogen fixer. So it has a super deep taproot that goes down into the ground, and it actually kind of mines for nitrogen, so it sucks it all up. And you can take comfrey and chop and drop. So one of the brilliant things about comfrey is if you took this and put it under this plant, you would be fertilizing that plant as it decomposes and goes down into the ground. And you'll see that a lot of our spots have thick layers of mulch, and the mulch is to hold down the weeds, but it also breaks down and decomposes over time and becomes like a compost in the soil. And so over here we have a great giant mound of mulch, and we get these wood chips from tree companies when they have to go out and clear trees. This is one of the best things you can use to kind of keep the weeds down in your paths and all around your plants. The only thing is you want to let it kind of break down a little bit first, because otherwise it's really hot as it's decomposing and can burn your precious plant roots. And I'll show you our little compost area, which is very, very simple. It's basically like things that are a rotten food or food that gets wasted gets put in this pile, and then we layer it with browns and I want to say greens, but you can put like grass clippings, leaves, something over every layer of the food scraps, because if your food is exposed, it'll bring in predators, and it can also get super buggy and stinky. So you want to make sure, like, every time you add to this pile, you go ahead and put leaves on top of it, or you can use grass clippings as well. But you can see somebody put an old pumpkin in here, and now we've got a billion pumpkins growing in this area. So we'll have to do something about that at some point, but they definitely like that heap. Yeah, so this is kind of composting 101 right here. You can see that once it goes through this process and it's just been mounded up for like a year, then you can come in here and it'll be broken down. The leaves right close to it, so we can dump them on top, pack it down, and make sure the rotted food isn't kind of hanging out, getting all stinky. And so over here we have a giant hugelkultur mound, and we have several of these mounds on the land. And what a hugelkultur mound, like the way it's constructed, is at the very base of this giant mound, there are giant tree trunks and logs. And then we come in and layer on top of that like branches and twigs and those types of things. Then you can actually layer either mulch or leaf mold or soil on top of that. And what happens is over time, the logs decompose and turn into this really amazing nutrition for plants. And it also, the giant logs also absorb water. So if you live in an area that doesn't rain a lot, you can always use hugelkultur mounds to kind of help with keeping plant roots moist. And so it's really a brilliant way to create a space to plant in. Ours are just kind of wild, but when we want to plant in them, what we would do is wrap the mound. So if you want to just take a peek at that mound, that is another hugelkultur mound, and we just have some old recycled used billboard tarps that we've put on top of it to kind of kill off all the weeds. So like if you killed off all the weeds for a year, the next year you could uncover it and just plant directly into the mound, and you'd have less weed pressure and competition.